Oh, hello. It's good to see you there. Today we'll be reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Because I don't know what holiday it is. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's a coloring book, so it's in black and white. Oh, ha, boo, do, re, or whatever they say. Here we go. It's a long one. Strap yourselves in for Teddy Owens. Who's Teddy Owens? Fun, exciting mysteries of the book. You know the first line. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lives just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise. Oh. It's very loud. I'm sure my voice is reflecting off the music stand I'm holding my phone with. Oh, then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast. They would feast on the Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. Oh, what a disgusting feast. And then they do something he liked least of all. Every Who in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. Oh, they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Oh, excuse me. Oh. But how is it going to... And then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled, and he clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No! The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, giddy up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. What's going to happen next? All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. Then he came to the first little house on the square. "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. And he climbed on the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flute, where the little whose stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Oh no, not the stockings. Oh, good heavens. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. Then he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Speaking of gifts, just one second. Cheers, good to see you. Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who's pudding. He took the roast feast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. The Who hash. He took the Who hash. Oh, look at that tree. Look at that tree. I wonder what's going to happen to it. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee, and now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. Ew. And the Grinch grabbed the tree, and he started to shove, and he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, and he turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tidy Who daughter. Ooh. Who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot, that fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney, and he stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And then one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Oh, speaking of, just one little more break here, real quick. Oh, excuse me. Oh, God, this bit is going to take so long. Happy Memorial Day. Just a quick one. Oh, God. Back to the show. Oh, I got a moisty nap real quick so I don't ruin the comic. Why am I doing this? This is way too old. This is a dry moisty nap. All right. For anyone who's still here, I love you. And then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. What a jackass. Oh, God. We're almost at 10 minutes. I love you. Oh, it was 4:15. All the Who's still abed. All the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the neighbors, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load on the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the whoos was his Grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, and the ooze down in Hoover will all cry boo-hoo. He's so happy to make other people unhappy. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch. That's a simply must hear. That I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. What could the sound be? But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was mercy. Merry, but it was merry. Very mercy, soul of my soul. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook what he saw with a shocking surprise. What could it be? Oh my goodness. Every who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, were singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Never mind. Somehow or other, it came just the same. Oh! And the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Where am I? Oh, maybe Christmas, perhaps. Maybe means a bit more. Means a little bit more. Here we go. Last stretch. And what happens then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. He whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. That's it. He even carved, the roast beast. Have a good one.